Hello, Flosstube.
Greetings.
I'm Laura.
I'm Joe.
Welcome to the Slovak Farm.
This is the part where we go cross stitch.
One stitch at a time? Literally, we were just having a discussion about a meme he saw on Facebook, and then all of a sudden he presses play, and it's like, okay, let's go. Happy Monday, y'all. It is Monday, April 25th. It's the perfect day. If you get that, we can be friends.
Okay, so we can't be friends. If that's a reference to something, I have it.
It is a reference to a movie. Comment below if you get it. If not, I will explain it next week. How was y'all's week? Because last week in this household was cray-cray. It was crazy. It was a zoo. I don't even know where to begin. I guess we could begin at the beginning. Monday. So last week we filmed on Easter because I had Ladies Guild, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to go over to my stitching because it's supposed to be icky weather. Well, leave time for stitching rolled around. It wasn't super icky. It was raining, but it wasn't super bad. So I was like, I'm going to go. Halfway to Medina, it started snowing. And it was like a wet, gross snow. It wasn't really sticking to the roads here. But yeah, it was gross, wet snow.
The roads, on the way to work sucked.
Let me tell you. The road conditions were the least of my problems Monday with stitching. We get there at 12. You.
Remember, it's not us.
We being the group of us that stitch. We get there at about 12:30, so that way their lunch rush has come and gone, basically. And we order a late lunch, and we stitch. It's great. There were 6 of us there last week. One person ordered a dessert and a tea. The other 5 of us ordered. One person got their food. At 1:30, now, that part doesn't matter. Now, at 1:30, well, it might, because I feel like it does. But we'll get to that part in a minute. At 1:30, one of the employees came out and asked us if we had everything. We were like, no, most of us are still waiting on our food. So she goes through and she goes, well, who's still waiting on what? And she asked us. Now, yes, this part does matter. I was going to say it doesn't matter that Grande Rose Cafe is part of Medina Creative Living, which is the mentally disabled adult housing in Medina County. So adults that do not function on an adult level live in this house. They have direct care, support personnel who help them function. And the most able-bodied ones they have different entities where they can work. This cafe is one of them. They have a greenhouse. They have a doggy daycare. They have another cafe in Brunswick. I think it's in Brunswick. It might be in another part of Medina County. They have several things that these, the able-bodied residents, the more able-bodied residents are able to do. So of the probably 24 employees that are in this cafe, and it's probably not even that many, 4 of them are able-bodied adults. The guy who does
neurotypical
adults. The guy who does the roasting, the coffee bean roasting, because they sell coffee there. There's a lady that handles, cooking as like the chef. And then there are 2 other like manager type employees who basically handle the food orders, making sure the cafe is clean, making sure. Okay. One of the non-typical neuro resident employees came over and asked us what we were still waiting on. So we let her know. Now, we realized she was not going to remember all 4 of these orders without writing it down, because we, as able-bodied, typical adults, would never have remembered this. So she did come back with a piece of paper, but she only asked one person because she had forgot her order. Nobody else came out to make sure it was right. At this point, I don't care where you're at on typical functioning level for your age level, so your social developmental. I don't care where you're at on that spectrum. At this point, somebody else should have walked to our table and said, we clearly are having a problem today. Let me make sure I have your order correct. Because in any other food service establishment, that's what would have happened, regardless of the functioning level of the adults working there.
Basically, the manager stunk.
That's not what happened. Yeah. I never got food. I did not eat until we had supper Monday night. I ate like a damn horse. I went over to my Ladies Guild meeting and had a large plate full of snacks there. I was so hungry. It was horrible. But I was not happy. We were all very unhappy. But none of us felt like it was anybody's fault other than the one lady who acts as the manager and is kind of in charge of making sure everything goes the way it's supposed to. And in talking to the group today, I made it very clear. That's where I feel the feeling was, and that's where I was upset at. And, I understand that it's challenging to work with folks who not only don't function at a level that you would expect just looking at them, but they're all over. When you're working with that kind of a base for your employees, they're going to be a little bit all over. So it is a very big handful. But
isn't that written on the tin when you get the job, though?
I mean, you gotta know, well, yeah, you know this going into the job because they don't make it any sort of secret. And as I said today, I'm definitely willing to give them grace in the fact that sometimes poop happens, and given the circumstances of the cafe and its function, I don't mind that every once in a while something falls through the crack and they have to come out and ask us for our order a second time, or it takes a little bit longer. This has become a consistent problem, and the people who should be making sure this doesn't happen so that these poor adults who are doing the very best that they can at the level that they are at to make us happy, they feel like they're failing us, and that's not okay by me either. I was I'm still very unhappy. I ate lunch at home today. That was just Monday. My week was a zoo last week. I have a vendor event for my Bath and Body stuff coming up May 7th. I'm not ready. I don't feel like I'm ready. It's been a struggle bus. The place that I get my supplies from they decided back in December that you couldn't come into the building. Well, when COVID first happened, they decided you couldn't come into the building. They had to ship all orders. Then they decided you could place your order on their website, come to their building, come in, pick it up. There was no shopping around. Then in December of 2021, with numbers going super sky high, they decided, no, you couldn't come in the building anymore. Place your order online. Come, call us, pick it up. Well, we still haven't gone back to, we can go in the building to get our order. And I sat in the parking lot for 10 minutes this morning trying to call in and getting their voicemail system because there aren't enough phone lines. And that has been the last 7 days of my life. And I'm going crazy.
I guess I won't talk about my day week. Yes.
Sorry, I did go off on a 10-minute soapbox. Would you like to restart this and me not do my soapbox again?
No, I want to put my 2 cents in. Jeez. By the way, you have written an Instagram about those managers, right?
So the one lady that we stitch with that's kind of started this whole group is friends with the director of Medina Creative Living. And she's like, well, I can't really talk to her because they left over the weekend to they went on vacation. They left over the weekend to go on vacation. And I said, it's not I'm pretty sure that the director overheard the conversation at the end of the day last week, because when the other gals went up to pay, I went up too to make it very clear that I had not received food. Because in my mind, I saw me walking in this week and them going, well, you got food last week and you didn't pay for it. No, I didn't get food. But, and the director was standing right there when we were checking out. And not only did all of that happen with me not getting food, and four people, three people waiting an hour and a half to get food, and one person not getting food. One of the people ordered her item right off the menu. It is on the menu that it has these set items on it, and the manager lady tried to say, oh, it's an extra $1 for this item. And we're like, no, it's on the menu. That's on that. So it's not an extra $1.
Conversations need to be had.
I feel like
You're
it's
still on your soapbox, by the way.
I'm sorry. I feel like it is at the point where conversations need to be had. But I don't know if Sharon from our group is going to talk to Diana of her own volition and have it addressed, or if it's something where we're going to have it addressed. Now, today when we went in, they were all like, the other able-bodied adult who takes care of the orders and food, and that was like, well, I'm going to take your orders so that way we get it right, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, you're acting like it was their fault. It was y'all's fault because you did not fail-safe check this situation like you should have. I didn't eat there. What? You're making me feel bad.
No, I'm just trying to get a word in my cheese.
What?
Well, now that weird face was explained. Yeah, her day. I had the exact opposite kind of weird day. Oh, weird week. On Friday, after 5 years of asking, they finally came up with a test to try to become a level 3 technician at my job. There are 3 levels. There have only ever been 2 since I started, not a new one. So at 45 minutes until I was to leave, they're like, hey, Joe, you're taking this test. No prep time. No nothing. I took this test. I broke my brain. I was late leaving work. And I somehow actually managed to pass it. Even though it was actually purposely harder than it needed to be. Because I was the guinea pig.
Well, that shows how smart you are.
So, I've now become a boss.
That was like 0 to nothing. Or 0 to 60. 0 to nothing. That didn't make sense.
Oh, what? So, yeah, they told me today, you're telling me now. I'm like, okay. This should be fun. And with everything else going on with the new company owning us and all that, I'm like, no, this is going to be interesting. What happens with this crap?
Yeah, that it shall be. That it shall be. It'll be okay. So, when I say it was a crazy week, y'all, it was a crazy week. We're 15 minutes into the crazy. Last week I was like, oh, our video is so short. I don't think it's that.
Oh, actually, that wasn't the craziest thing that happened to me last week. My poor friend, I was talking to him Friday, and he's like, he spent all week trying to find a washing machine that was within his budget, but was big enough and was durable enough, that wouldn't break in a year or two. He spent a week trying to find one. He was definitely at his wit's end. And I'm like, have you got one yet? He's like, no. I'm like, be right back. Ran up here, like, hey, hon, our washer from our old house, the good one we bought that we brought with us, was still in the garage. So I didn't have anybody to help me take it downstairs. Because getting something into our basement is a 2-person job and is a pain in the butt. So I was like, yeah, if he helps me get this downstairs, can he have the one in the basement? She's like, yeah, sure, whatever. It's him. We're good friends. Whatever. So I get back on and I tell him. And this just shows Married Man 101. His response was, give me a minute, I gotta go check with my wife. So after I got done, I got done checking with my wife. He had to go check with his wife. So then I had to check with my wife about scheduling. And then he had to check with his wife about scheduling so that we could finally agree on a time. And then he came over first thing in the morning on Saturday. We got everything done. It did. The washing machine actually didn't fit in his vehicle, so we had to use my van to drive it all the way over to his house. He doesn't live close, like 45 minutes. So I dropped that off, helped him get it down his flight of stairs with my hand cart, because I'm like, dude, how are you going to get this down these steps? So he goes, oh my God, they got to get with you. Did you want to kill yourself?
Probably.
We got it all hooked up, and I'm just like, and then I went to go do the lawn, and I'm like, oh, and I forgot to check to see how my blade is on my lawnmower. It's currently at my father-in-law's house, so he can sharpen the blade.
That's okay.
It looks like a Chris knife.
But it's okay. You know why? Because we had 80 degrees on Saturday and Sunday, and today we got up to like 70-something, and at about 2 o'clock, strong storms rolled through. As in, there was enough in the atmosphere that an EF0 tornado touchdown about 15 minutes that way from our house. And I was not home. I actually didn't find out about it until I got home.
Suffice it to say, the dog had a heart attack.
She's fine now. And there was nothing like at our house or around our house that was like damaged. But I had left some of the windows open because it was really warm and stuffy inside the house. It was like almost 80 degrees in the house.
We're trying to fix that too.
So I left a few of the windows cracked or, partially open just to get some air in here. Because I knew eventually it was going to storm and was going to go. We had a 20-degree temperature drop after those storms rolled through. I knew it was going to happen. We thought they were going to be a little closer to me getting home. But she stuck like glue to me for most of the rest of the afternoon.
Now, how about those commenters?
How about them commenters? Because it's been 20 minutes already. Hey, guess what? This isn't going to be a short. Somebody said something about long, short. It doesn't really matter because this is just...
Welcome to the crazy train. Buckle in and hold on tight.
Most of the commenters kind of are like, whatever. Sometimes it's long, sometimes it's short. You guys balance each other out in the end, and you're entertaining, and it's very natural, so.
Okay, we got Bridget, Glenna, Teresa, Andrea.
Andrea.
I am not good at English. I'm good at numbers. I'm not good at English. Tamara, the PD Stitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Lynn, and Victoria. Oi!
So,
what's up?
Thank you all for commenting. Let's move on to whips. Whips.
Don't ask me where that came from. I don't even know. Look on your face is weirder than anything else.
Okay. Moving along. Whips. The section is probably going to end up being shorter than our flippin' intro.
See? We're balancing.
Okay. So, Daily 30 last week the weekly was titled One with Wonder. And the goal was to stitch all of your stitches. It was 200 stitch week, 200 stitch count, maximum count week. All of your stitches on one project. I achieved this goal. Actually, when it all totaled up, I almost had enough. I was like 80 stitches short of having enough to have a completely extra 200 prompt amount. But I stitched on Pumpkin Farm by Cora Albacore. So we needed something with letters or an alphabet or words. Pumpkin Farm. A building. We have a lovely house here. People or animals. There's peoples on here. Something found in nature that's not man-made. Well, we've got pumpkins. Those are found in nature and they're not man-made. And then letters, people, house, nature. Okay, and then the last one was multiple brands of flosses. And Pumpkin Farm is mostly, you can't read that, is mostly DMC, but there's like one specialty floss. I don't know the brand of it that's called for. I did switch this out though for a non-DMC floss. So it works. So this is literally what I stitched on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday last week. And I got 1,119 stitches in on it. This is on a piece of 28 count, 32 count dirt road. Oh, I have to take off the word. I have to flip that around because there's one. Because I have a needle minder on here that has a cursey word. I got the house all done except for the pumpkin on top. And the pumpkin's hanging off of it. So, yay! Do-do-do! Oh. Why did you just...
Good luck. And I'm weird. And my day has been really, really chaotic, so my brain's freaky fried.
And I just knocked my pencil on the floor. That's okay. So then, I think I said this a couple weeks ago, but I really wanted to, I don't know, I said this last video or a couple weeks ago. I'm making it a mission to do the extra prompt that they've added this year to work on something that's a SAL, or was released as a series, and use my Peppermint Purple 2021 SAL to get it done. Because I like this project, but I am an idiot and decided to stitch it on black.
You're not an idiot.
I'm insane and decided to stitch it on black.
Better.
So,
Looks awesome.
It does look awesome. I got 344 stitches on it for the weekly prompt because it's 300 stitches. Can you hold this for me? So, I basically have to make these blocks down here and then fill them in with our pattern. Thank you. This is on a black 28 count even weave that I'm not entirely sure is actually an even weave. I looked at this yesterday, and based on, it'll probably take me about 2 weeks. 2 weeks at 300 stitches each, minimum, to finish the blocks down here, which is actually what I'm going to do when I take it out to stitch on it again. You know, to fill in the empty, to do the empty block outlines. And then probably another 6 or 7 weeks to fill in the blocks. It seems like about 4 of the square blocks gives me over 300, and 2 of the rectangle blocks gets me over 300. You know, if there's a slimmer, if there's a block. Actually, I don't think any of my blocks have been. I think it's about how it's worked out, just with how it's worked out. So that puts it at about 2 months, maybe a little bit more. So I should have this done by the end of summer if I focus on it like I plan to. But it is a priority because I do want to finish it. I mean, I started it because it would look cool, but it's been a bugaboo. And then Friday, it's 24 hours of cross stitch weekend. The
actual was that?
The 24 hours of cross stitch marathon weekend was this last weekend. I usually A, forget to keep track of my hours, or B, life happens and I don't stitch nearly as much as I plan to. C, moving a washer on Saturday. So, I just have decided I'm going to start something new every marathon weekend. I mean, it's fitting with Jen. Quirks and Stitches is, she started the whole 24 hours cross stitch marathon. This year she is doing 222 new starts. So it fits with her theme. It kind of fits. So this marathon weekend, I started Quaker Turtle by RPM.
How many?
222. She's currently on start number 81, I think.
What's funny is I have to her face told her she is flipping insane, and she agreed with me.
Okay. Whatever works.
I don't even think I spend that many days cross stitching in a year.
I don't know.
I don't.
But a group of us started Quaker Turtle. I am stitching it in Week Skyworks Bethlehem. I'm stitching it on 32 count, hand-dyed by the Slovak Farm in Aquamarine. And this is 914 stitches.
Pretty.
Doesn't that look amazing? I am in love with how this looks.
It looks like a kaleidoscope, I'm not going to lie.
It looks really awesome.
That's not an insult. That actually, it just looks like a kaleidoscope to me.
It's so pretty. Awesome. It's so pretty. I love it. I am very pleased. I wish my fabric would have been a touch. I had initially wanted my fabric a little darker, but when I started to stitch, I actually realized the lightness of it actually works with the floss. So, and yes, I'm storing everything in the plastic pattern bag like I tell y'all not to do with my hand-dyed fabrics. I gotta get it back. I know.
Everybody down below, each person comment 1 lash with wet noodle. Let's see how many lashes she can get for leaving that in a plastic bag.
Because I have a tote full of project bags that nobody wants to buy, so I might as well use them for myself. And finally, yesterday, Sunday, was my focus Sunday. I pulled out Tale as Old as Time. That was the only one. That's the only one I haven't focused on yet. Like, I've got issues. I've had some issues this week. And I have issues with this particular pattern. Here's my issue.
Some issues.
The designer suggested that you put it on an Aida, which sounded superb. So I got my Aida and started stitching my frame. I didn't have my frame.
What type of pattern is it?
It is a mystery sow.
That's what's important.
So, yes, that's important. So, I got my Ada, started stitching my frame. The first little block, which is like 40-some stitches by 30-some stitches, came out. Didn't really pay attention to it, honestly, because I was stitching my frame. And even if I would have paid attention to it, it wouldn't have mattered because I was so far done with my frame. There are fractional stitches in the inside the little block. Anybody who's done fractional stitches, it won't shut up, and it's sitting right in front of the computer. So I'm sure there's a ton of dinging sounds in the middle of all this. I meant to throw it in my bag. It missed. So
Okay.
Anybody who's done fractional stitches on Ada know that they're a pain in the butt. Thankfully, the Ada that I did pick is a little bit of a softer Ada, so it's not as bad, but had I realized that before I started stitching, I would have done it on an even weave. Because even weave makes fractional stitches 100 times easier. And if you are a stitcher who stitches on even weave or linen, it's your preference, if you have something to stitch it that has fractional stitches, to stitch it on an even weave or a linen. Or at least that's what I think. That's my preference. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are even weave and linen stitchers who would rather stitch it on an Ada. But for me, and everybody I know that stitches on all types of fabric, that's their preference.
I don't stitch on all type of fabric, and I purposely don't do quarter stitch pieces, do I?
Right.
If I can avoid it, because I hate it.
So we have 307 stitches done in that little block here.
Wasn't that also the one where they had like more colors than was necessary?
This dress has 3 shades of green in it. Her hair has 2 shades of yellow in it.
I had to look very, very closely to notice that. And Laura has very good at flosses that actually had that exact color transitions.
Now, I will say that if I would have kind of been paying more attention, and I would have left at least 2 shades of green, because you can see in the center of her dress, when you're looking at it, the shading difference. But this block, I just have to put stars and backfill the sky on this. So the 307 stitches that I put in it yesterday, that I struggled to put in it yesterday because there were so many color changes, I feel like that much color change is unnecessary. Personally, I know that there are people who love it as is. I am going to look at each of the blocks next time and determine what I can get away with doing as one solid color. I mean, I just feel like 3 shades of green was probably unnecessary, and that's just how I feel. I mean, she wanted you to do shade on shade back stitching around some of it to make it look like it looks like a castle, the top of a castle, you know, the little bumpy things on it. You get that without the back stitching. I'm not putting the back stitching on it. Yeah. Gonna be modifying this from here on out just to make it a little bit more tolerable for me to stitch. What's been my stitching this week?
Moving on to...
It was quite a week. I don't have any haul, so we'll move on to plans and announcements.
Okay.
He's squishing me. He's squishing me. Okay. Plans and announcements.
I don't know which
You
way
never
this
plan.
boat... Hon, I lost the oars, the rudder broke, and I'm pretty sure I'm in the middle of a freaking whirlpool. I might be stuck in a toilet.
I feel like I'm stuck in a toilet this week.
Round and round and round we go. Where it stops, I don't want to know. Oh.
Last week was just one of those weeks where it was like, if it could go wrong, it did. And this week isn't starting out so great. Okay.
How about you with your plans?
My plan is no idea.
Well, thanks for watching, Bob. People. Bye.
This week's Friday's Daily 30 Weekly was is favorite recipes. So there's multiple prompts with recipes. I already have 3 of them done. The 900 stitches on Quaker Turtle was on stitch on something with something small in the design. There's lots of small little Quaker motifs in that design and small little flowers. And share your favorite quick recipe. My favorite quick recipe, quick being that the prep is quick, is I make this really awesome recipe where it is literally potatoes and kielbasa, and you dice up the potatoes and you slice up the kielbasa and you throw it in an oven. You put it in a pan and throw it in an oven. I add oil and salt and pepper and garlic and onion powder to the potatoes.
15-inch cast iron skillet bought by this guy. Kind of helps.
I throw it in my big cast iron skillet. You can throw it on a sheet pan if you don't have a big 15-inch cast iron skillet. You can split it between 2 skillets. It actually came about, popped up on my Pinterest years ago as a recipe for camping, and it's done in foil packets. You can wrap it up, divide it up, wrap it in individual foil packets, throw it on the barbecue grill or on your campfire. You don't even need cooking grate for that. But it's such minimum prep that it's like my favorite quick recipe because it's inactive. Most of the cooking is inactive. You just got to basically wait for the potatoes to cook. And if you dice your potatoes up small enough, it'll cook. They'll cook in the time it'll take for the kielbasa to get warm and crispy. My potatoes took a little bit longer because I used sweet potatoes this week to make it. That was really jamming.
You want to know what mine is?
Hmm.
Pasta with a bit of oil, salt, and pepper.
Well, there you go.
The first time I cooked it for myself, I was like, "Would you like some?" She was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Why is that good?"
Because it's simple and basic.
Because you know what? And I don't put that much salt or pepper. I put probably more pepper than not that much salt. It's just
I had done it before, before I had met you, but I didn't put salt and pepper on it. Salt and pepper actually really took it to another level. I will not lie.
and you know what? This is me cooking. Keep it simple, stupid. I'm a minimalist on my ingredients. That's not anything to say about anything else. I'm just a simple person. This poor woman, on our first wedding anniversary, made me this filet mignon and all this other stuff. It was pretty good. The following year, she made me oven roasted turkey breast. And I thought it was like 10 times better. And she's like, all I did was salt and pepper and sear it.
Well, that's really all I did with the filet mignon.
But you're just like, you like that better than the filet mignon? Well, at least I know you're cheap.
Is that wrong?
Response.
The second prompt that I put the Quaker turtle shell on was something that you tie the project into a holiday or event and give a recipe for the holiday or the event. I mean, my little group of friends, we always make 24 hours of cross stitch an event. We plan out spending time. Unfortunately, this one, life happened and we did not get to Zoom as much as we normally do. But, we always plan out we're going to spend a bunch of time on Zoom together and we're going to spend a lot of time together. And so we and there is one gal who plans her menu out and her snacks and everything. And it's absolutely, I love it. I am here for it. Beth Ann, she will plan out, she will have a whole planned out menu.
Well, that's who I was speaking to.
This is what I'm making for Friday night, and then I'm going to have leftovers on Saturday, and Sunday night I'm making this, and these are the snacks, and it is endearing. It's just, I'm here for it because
What Bethany gets into it, Bethany gets into it.
And if that's what makes you happy, and it makes her so happy, like, I'm here for it. I'm here to see people happy. You know, I do like to try to do stuff, especially Friday night, that is like a quick cooking meal or minimum meal. I offered up my buffalo chicken dip recipe because I've done that several times for 24 hours of cross stitch weekend, which we need to do that again soon. We haven't had that in a while. Hey Mom, next weekend we decide to have. It was so nice out yesterday. Mom made dips and we had dinner by the fire pit at my parents' house. That was awesome.
What's really funny is the wind was going so good that literally my father-in-law had wood that didn't want to catch, and it still burnt down to nothing because there was so much wind. If you've ever been out on an open plain field when it's windy, yeah, you don't fly a kite. They ain't a string strong enough.
Yeah. And then the other prompt that I used it for was a pandemic recipe, a recipe you learned during the pandemic. I used Quaker Turtle as and a project you started during the pandemic. We are technically still in a pandemic. The World Health Organization has not moved it to endemic stage yet. And a lot of that has to do with the whole variants thing and vaccination rates. And there was a lot of technical stuff in there.
Away from that toxic cesspool, please.
There was a lot of technical things on the world. Shut up.
No.
There was a lot of technical things that I was reading when I was like, okay, so we have not made it to an endemic yet. So we are still technically in a pandemic, so it still counts. And my recipe that I learned during the pandemic, because I already knew how to cook bread. I don't particularly like to bake, so I didn't learn any, like, baking stuff. But one recipe I did learn during the pandemic was how to make copycat Fiesta lime chicken, because we moved away from Applebee's. And that is my Applebee's jam. Now I can make it at home, and it tastes just like Applebee's Fiesta lime chicken.
Now I want chicken Alfredo.
We had chicken. Well, okay, so we had it over. Nope, can't have it Saturday after Mass. We're having kielbasa for dinner. So I do have 2 more recipes to work up for the favorite recipe week. Something. I gotta find a project I can tie into sweets. And I don't remember the last one. And
I have an idea for your sweets.
What?
You could do Raven Queen because you're basically on a witch, and that witch is a favorite Halloween costume, and you get a lot of sweets on Halloween.
Not a bad idea.
Rabbit holes can be fun.
That would work with Cathedral Wood Goddess because she's dressed up for Halloween. Oh my gosh. I was thinking Merry Christmas, y'all, because Christmas you get lots of food and sweets. And I seriously forget the last prompt for the week. Oh well. I'm almost done with the monthlies, the Easter time acrostic. I am like halfway done with the last letter. Tales Oldest Time was one of my letters. I was going to use it for the last 2 letters that I had going in yesterday, but because it took me 6 hours to do 300 stitches, and by the time I realized I had been at it that long, I only had like 50 more stitches to go, so it was like finish the stitches rather than just call time. Should have known better.
She was not a happy human.
I was not. But I'm actually glad that I managed to do as many stitches as I did on. I didn't really think I would get 3 full prompts done on Quaker Turtle. Glad I did, because in addition to prepping for my vendor event, the church is having a rummage sale this coming weekend, and I'm going over this week a couple days to help price stuff.
she's not getting a lot of stitching in this week.
I don't know. I'm gonna get a ton of stuff. I don't know that I'm staying over there all day tomorrow and all day Thursday to help with pricing. Just because I do have to get stuff done for my vendor event. So that's the plans. And actually, I'm more planned this week than I have been lately. It is kind of nice not, I will say there are people who get the weeklies on Friday and they plan out what project is going into that slot, or, into that prompt. And if that is you, go you. I am enjoying kind of saying, okay, this is what I want to stitch on. What can I fit it to? And if it doesn't necessarily fit, being able to do alternative stitches. I revamped my decision wheel at the end of March because I thought I was going to use that to help me pick what I'm stitching on. Honestly, because I have so many daggone projects, I'm just kind of going, okay, well, here's the prompt. How does it fit?
And you always have it me to ask, and trust me, I can link anything.
I know. So right now I'm not at a roadblock of what do I stitch on. I seem to be doing pretty good, so I'll use the decision wheel if I kind of get to the point where I don't know what I want to stitch on. And if I've already if I spin it and it pulls up something I've already stitched on in this cycle of stitching, I'll just spin again. That's like kind of my only caveat when I go to the wheel, is if it pops up with something that I've already, like if I spin the wheel and it says Pumpkin Farm, I'm going to skip that because I would like to touch my whips at least once before I start and go back to stitching on them again. So that's kind of where I'm at with plans. I'm liking the kind of half winging it thing. Announcements.
The kitty wants attention.
The kitty wants attention. The Slovak Farm is offering a Christmas mystery box. It's going to be mostly stitching items. It is not all stitching items. And there's a cat on Joe. Half on the table. Hi, buddy.
I told you he wanted attention.
Hi, buddy. If you are interested, details are on the Slovak Farm Instagram page. There's a Facebook page that's linked to the Slovak Farm Instagram page, and then there's a Facebook group for the ONS. The Facebook group, the advantage of being in the Facebook group, kitty claws. The advantage of being in the Facebook group is, hi, kitty.
I don't know if I should say this is cute or yell at you for being on the table.
He's on the table right now because he wants pets and he can't access laps very well with where we're sitting. The ONS Facebook group, there are some things that will be offered exclusively through that. Sales will be offered in there. If and when I ever get able to do sales, well, there may be some sales coming up. I don't know. And my cat is not sitting on the table.
You need to get down.
It's his house. We just live in it. But all of the information for the mystery box can be found on my Instagram page and on my Facebook page. Those don't require joining a group if that's not your jam. The group is strictly posting stuff of charts, needle minders, fabric. People post pictures of projects they've done on fabrics, but that's it. There's no extra anything. I shut that down. So if you are interested in the mystery 12 Days of Christmas box, go read the information on one of those sources. I'm done talking. I've talked too much. I feel like all I've done is babble. I apologize if you've made it this far because I feel like I've talked a lot of nonsense this video.
Comment below telling her it's fine, please. Because it's perfectly fine. You needed to vent, and guess what? There are people to vent to. Now, if you could please like, comment, subscribe, bell notification, the whole YouTube stuff.
We would
That'd be
greatly appreciate it.
I know what we did.
That was great.
Not
And-
planned. The only thing we planned is what's next after I press the button. That's the end. That's the beginning and end of our plans.
Basically, we don't really plan this. You know, and
I
supporting
forget the plan anyway.
supporting the Slovak Farm ONS is supporting this channel, and we appreciate all of the support we get.
Yep.
So
We don't have a Patreon. We have a stitching store.
We have a Patreon. We have a stitching store because I unexpectedly lost my job in February of 2021, and we decided that it was a good option for me to get to work and put forth something towards contributing to the household. I don't really contribute a whole lot.
Well, thankfully, I seem to be ropping and popping at my job.
I will say this.
Which is part of the reason why I'm not stitching much, because my job is draining my brain.
I will say this. I know that I contribute at least something because when I needed new boots, I did not have to take money out of our checking account to pay for those boots. Those boots came from profits from the Slovak Farm stuff.
See that, y'all? Y'all buying her fashion except you are buying this woman's shoes. You are buying her the thing she needs the most. That's a woman's main deal. Stitch, fabric, and shoes.
Shop with the Slovak Farm. Mama needs another pair of boots.
No, now you just need a new purse. That go with the new boots.
No, more boots. More boots.
Oh, really funny thing happened on Friday.
Oh.
One of the younger guys, 25-year-old guy at my job, and we were talking about shoes and how long they last.
My ears.
And then I'm like, that's why I own cowboy. That's why I wear boots. He's like, oh, and I pulled up my pant leg showing him my cowboy boot. And he goes, holy crap, those are actually cowboy boots. You wear cowboy boots? I'm like, dude, you've been here a year and a half and you didn't know that?
We are country folk.
That had nothing to do with country folk. It has to do with I know a farmer who who uses his boots like there's nothing else, and he actually had to go and get them maintained because they were still in such good condition.
Yeah, my dad was like,
I wanted boots.
When I was like, I need to buy new boots, my dad's like, can't you take them and get them fixed? I showed them to my dad, and he's like, nope, those are beyond fixable at this point. I go, yeah, I killed them.
Yeah, my last pair of boots. I think they actually the same company too, because like I managed to actually rip the seam. Like literally, there was a hole where the sole met the boot, and it took me a couple years to do that. And I've had this pair for what, 3 years now? Well, no, I had these before we went to Nashville.
Yeah, you got them, I think, in 2018.
So yeah, 4 years now, 4 years now. I just got new inserts. Because the inserts I had in them, and I'm like, oh, these come out? Good go. Ooh, $25. Laura's like, get them.
Get them.
Now I have nice, comfy shoes again.
It is nice to have boots that are not busted and falling apart.
Or having insoles that are completely gone.
Yeah. All right. Well, we thank you guys for
listening to the rambles.
Listening to the rambles this week, especially because it was rambly this week. We hope you guys had a little bit of fun with us. Maybe got some stitches in listening to us ramble. Or entertained your drive with listening to us ramble. I don't know. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Bye.